Be careful in old age. The truth will shock you. Senior advice. Hey there, my friends. Welcome back to the channel, where we talk about living your best life, staying healthy, and finding joy as we age gracefully. I'm so glad you're here today because we're diving into something really important, something that might just change the way you think about growing older. The title of today's video is Be Careful in Old Age. The Truth Will Shock You. And trust me, this is going to be a heartfelt conversation, like we're sitting down together over a cup of coffee, just you and me talking about life. I know many of you watching are in your 50s, 60s, or maybe even 70s, and you're thinking about what it means to age well. Maybe you're worried about your health, your energy, or how to keep that spark of joy alive as the years go by. Or maybe you're just curious about what I mean by be careful in old age. Don't worry, I'm not here to scare you, but I am here to share some truths that might surprise you. Truths that I've learned from years of working with people just like you, from my own life, and from the wisdom of those who've walked this path before us. See, growing older isn't just about slowing down or dealing with aches and pains. It's about making choices. Choices that can either lift you up or hold you back. And here's the shocking truth. The little decisions you make every single day right now are shaping how you'll feel, move, and live 10, 20, even 30 years from now. That's what I mean by be careful. It's not about living in fear. It's about living with intention, with wisdom, and with a deep love for the life you're building. So grab a comfy seat, maybe a warm drink, and let's talk about what it really means to age well. I'm going to share some practical advice, a few stories from my own life and others, and some hard-earned wisdom that I believe can make all the difference. By the end of this video, you'll walk away with actionable steps to live healthier, happier, and stronger in your later years. And don't forget, if this resonates with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so we can keep this conversation going. Let's get started. All right, let's dive into heart of today's talk. The truth about aging and why we need to be careful, not out of fear, but out of respect for the incredible life we still have ahead of us. I'm going to break this down into 5 key areas where we need to be mindful as we age. Our physical health, our mental well-being, our relationships, our purpose, and our mindset. Each of these is like a pillar holding up the house of your life. And if one starts to crumble, it can affect the whole structure. But don't worry, I'm not just going to tell you what to watch out for. I'm going to give you practical, doable steps to strengthen each one. Physical health. Your body is your home. Let's start with your physical health because, let's be honest, this is the foundation of everything else. Without a strong body, it's hard to enjoy the things that make life beautiful. Whether it's play with your grandkids, taking a walk in the park, or just feeling good in your own skin. The shocking truth? Many of the health issues we face in our 60s and beyond, things like heart disease, diabetes, or joint pain, aren't just old age. They're often a result of habits we've built over decades. Let me share a story. A few years ago, I worked with a patient named Tom. Tom was 62, a retired teacher, and he came to me because he was struggling with constant fatigue and knee pain. He said, "Doc, I guess this is just what happens when you get old." But when we dug deeper, we found out Tom had been skipping breakfast for years, living on coffee and fast food, and hadn't exercised since his high school football days. His body was sending him signals, but he wasn't listening. Here's the thing. Your body is like a car. If you don't maintain it, give it the right fuel, keep it moving, take it for regular checkups, it's going to break down. But the good news? It's never too late to start taking care of it. Here are 3 simple things you can do right now to protect your physical health. First, move your body every day. You don't need to run a marathon or lift heavy weights. A 20-minute walk, some gentle yoga, or even dancing to your favorite music in the living room can make a huge difference. Studies show that just 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week can lower your risk of heart disease and improve your mood. For Tom, we started with a daily 15-minute walk around his neighborhood. Within a month, he was sleeping better and his knees felt stronger. Second, eat with intention. I'm not saying you have to give up your favorite foods. Life's too short to skip ice cream forever. But focus on adding more whole foods to your plate. Fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. Try the plate method. Fill half your plate with veggies, a quarter with protein, and a quarter with carbs. It's simple and it works. Tom started adding a salad to his lunch every day, and he was amazed at how much more energy he had. Third, don't skip those doctor visits. I know nobody loves going to the doctor, but regular checkups can catch small problems before they become big ones. Get your blood pressure checked. Keep an eye on your cholesterol, and don't ignore little aches and pains. They're often your body's way of saying, "Hey, pay attention to me." The truth is, your body is your home for the rest of your life. Treat it with love and respect, and it'll carry you further than you ever imagined. Mental well-being. Keep your mind sharp now. Let's talk about your mind. One of the biggest myths about aging is that your brain just slows down, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's not true. Yes, our brains change as we age, but you can keep your mind sharp and vibrant with a little effort. The shocking truth here? Loneliness, stress, and a lack of mental stimulation can do more harm to your brain than aging itself. I remember meeting Susan, a 68-year-old widow who came to me feeling foggy and forgetful. She was worried she was developing dementia, but when we talked, I learned she'd been spending most of her days alone, watching TV and not challenging her brain in any meaningful way. Loneliness and boredom were draining her mental energy. Here's what you can do to keep your mind in top shape. First, stay curious. Your brain loves to learn new things, no matter your age. Pick up a new hobby, like painting, gardening, or learning a language. There are free apps like Duolingo for languages or YouTube tutorials for just about anything. Susan started doing crossword puzzles every morning, and within weeks, she felt more alert and confident. Second, manage stress. Chronic stress is like poison for your brain. It can increase your risk of depression and even memory problems. Try simple stress busters like deep breathing or meditation. There's a great app called Calm that offers guided meditations, or you can just sit quietly for 5 minutes and focus on your breath. It's amazing how much this can help. Third, stay connected. Loneliness is a silent epidemic among seniors, and it's linked to higher risks of depression and cognitive decline. Call a friend, join a book club, or volunteer at a local community center. Even small interactions, like chatting with your neighbor, can lift your spirits. Susan joined a local knitting group, and she told me it was like finding a new family. Your mind is a muscle. Use it, nurture it, and it'll stay strong. Relationships. Build your circle of support. Speaking of staying connected, let's talk about relationships. Here's a truth that might shock you. The quality of your relationships in your 50s and beyond can have a bigger impact on your health than almost anything else. A famous study from Harvard found that people with strong social connections live longer, healthier lives than those who feel isolated. I'll never forget my patient Linda, a 55-year-old nurse who was always there for everyone else, her kids, her co-workers, her aging parents. But when her parents passed away, she realized she let many of her friendships fade. She felt lonely, even though she was surrounded by people. That loneliness was starting to affect her health. She wasn't sleeping well, and her blood pressure was creeping up. Here's how to strengthen your relationships. First, prioritize the people who matter most. Make time for your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, your friends. It doesn't have to be fancy. A weekly phone call or a Sunday brunch can mean the world. Linda started having coffee dates with her old high school friends, and it brought so much joy back into her life. Second, be open to new connections. Join a group that shares your interests, whether it's a church group, a hiking club, or a volunteer organization. Websites like meetup.com can help you find local groups. You're never too old to make new friends. Third, don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're feeling lonely or overwhelmed, reach out to someone you trust. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Linda started seeing a therapist to talk through her feelings, and it helped her rebuild her confidence and reconnect with others. Your relationships are your safety net. They will hold you up when life gets tough. So invest in them like they're gold. Purpose. Find what lights you up now. Let's talk about purpose. One of the biggest challenges of aging is feeling like you're not needed anymore. Maybe your kids are grown, you've retired, or you're not sure what your role is anymore. The shocking truth? A lack of purpose can lead to depression and even shorten your lifespan. But here's the good news. You can find new purpose at any age. Take my patient Robert, a 70-year-old retired accountant. After he retired, he felt lost. He told me, "Doc, I used to have deadlines and goals, but now my days feel empty." We worked together to find something that lit him up. He started volunteering at a local animal shelter, and it gave him a reason to get up every morning. Here's how you can find your purpose. First, reflect on what you love. What makes you lose track of time? Maybe it's gardening, writing, or helping others. Even small things like baking cookies for your neighbors can give you a sense of purpose. Second, give back. Volunteering is one of the best ways to feel connected and needed. Whether it's mentoring a young person, helping at a food bank, or teaching a skill you know, giving back fills your heart and soul. Third, set small goals. You don't need to change the world. Just take one step towards something meaningful. Robert set a goal to walk one dog at the shelter every day, and it snowballed into a whole new chapter of his life. Purpose isn't something you find like a lost key. It's something you create. And when you do, it's like adding rocket fuel to your life. Mindset. Choose wisdom over worry finally. Let's talk about your mindset. This is the big one, folks, because how you think about aging shapes everything else. The shocking truth? Your beliefs about getting older can actually affect how long you live. A study from Yale found that people who had positive views about aging lived, on average, 7.5 years longer than those with negative views. I had a patient named Margaret, who was 65 and convinced that her best years were behind her. She'd say things like, "I'm too old to try new things," or "This is just what happens when you age." But when we started challenging those thoughts, she realized she was holding herself back. She started saying, "I'm not old, I'm experienced," and it changed everything. Here's how to cultivate a wise, positive mindset. First, focus on what you can control. You can't stop time, but you can control how you move, eat, and think. Celebrate the small wins, like choosing a healthy meal or trying something new. Second, practice gratitude. Every morning, write down 3 things you're thankful for. It could be your health, your family, or even a beautiful sunrise. Gratitude rewires your brain to see the good in life. Third, embrace change. Aging comes with challenges, but it also comes with wisdom, perspective, and freedom. Margaret started taking painting classes at her local community center, and she told me, "I feel like a kid again, but with all the wisdom of my years." Your mindset is like the lens through which you see the world. Choose a lens of wisdom, hope, and possibility, and watch how it transforms your life. Well, my friends, we've covered a lot today, haven't we? We've talked about taking care of your body, keeping your mind sharp, nurturing your relationships, finding your purpose, and choosing a mindset of wisdom over worry. The truth about aging might be shocking, but it's also empowering. You have the power to shape your future, to live a life that's not just long, but full of joy, health, and meaning. I want to leave you with a little story. My grandfather lived to be 92, and up until his last day, he was out in his garden, telling stories, and making everyone around him laugh. He used to say, "Life is like a garden. You get out what you put in. If you plant seeds of care, connection, and courage, you'll harvest a life that's rich and beautiful." So, here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing from today's talk. Maybe it's taking a daily walk, calling an old friend, or writing down what you're grateful for. And start today. Small steps lead to big changes. And if you're feeling inspired, share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're living your best life as you age. If you found value in this video, please give a thumbs up, share it with someone you care about, and hit that subscribe button so we can keep these conversations going. You're not just growing older. You're growing wiser, stronger, and more vibrant every day. Let's keep nurturing that wisdom together. Until next time, take care, stay healthy, and keep shining. I'll see you in the next video.